Hey, what's going on? Welcome along to episode 67 of the Strategy and Conversions podcast. I'm Jamie Michael Joseph, and as always, I'm joined by Mr. Mark Tanner.
Hello, everybody.
Mark, getting into the 60s in our podcast, right? It's one of those where people in their 60s, right, look back on their lives, right? So they go looking back on their lives, and what you usually hear whenever people are talking about regret is about the stuff that they didn't do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And that's what we're going to talk about today, about getting into that kind of stage where you can do the things that you want to do and creating, designing, and living that dream life.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? We were just talking about this earlier on. It's always so many people that, they want to go into business to live the dream life. They want to do this to live the dream life. And and that dream life is completely unique to each individual, because one person's dream isn't another one. But I think we haven't talked about this for a while, have we? We've all been talking about business as the vehicle that helps us get to the lifestyle we want. But really, it's more than that. That lifestyle is the dream life we want, isn't it?
It's exactly that. I mean, we've spoke about this in lots of training. We spoke about it on a couple of podcasts over the years. But I go back to a seminar that you put on 7 years ago now, something like that. And you started talking about life goals. And you started talking about, look, whatever we do in business, we're creating that vehicle to get us to that life goal that we want. And I always remember that sticking with me. Always remember going, that's exactly it. When people talk about your why, your passion, why is it you do what you do? It can simply be that you just want more of X. You just want to be able to do Y. And I guess when we speak about it, we kind of bring it back to go in, you have more choice, right? You have more options.
Yeah, definitely. And this is the thing, isn't it? It's all about those choices, because the choice is going to be totally different for somebody. Somebody might be particularly money oriented. They may be going, this is what I want. But again, you even peel that back, then you say, well, why do you want that? Why do you want? It was interesting. I was listening to I think it was a podcast recently about somebody who has made their money in the stock market, basically betting on the pound just being trashed. Because he said he went to he was an economist, and he came out of the London School of Economics or something, and decided he was going to play the stock market, and thought, what was he going to do? He was going to bet on the economy diving over 7 years ago, because obviously it was going to, and he's made a fortune just on that. And he now has this podcast about money and all that kind of stuff. And he was just saying that people chase billions, and you got billionaires and chase stuff. So why do you need billions? You can't spend it. I mean, and I think it's the question. He said, yeah, I like money. Of course I do. So I'd like to have sort of this amount of money, but I know when I don't need any more, because it becomes ridiculous. I don't need as much as I've got now. And he's saying, but no, but they're not asking themselves, why do they need £1 billion? And when you come back to these people who are chasing the great big lifestyle, I want to be a millionaire. But you think, well, do you really? Why? What? And I think that's the question, like we keep talking about that, isn't it? It's a question that we don't ask ourselves enough, is why do we want what we think we want?
I love that. It just reminded me as well, like that whole thing, like what you're getting at there as well, like you said, is that success is different to everyone. So living that dream life, creating that dream life, the dream is different to everyone. I can remember seeing like a picture on social media, and it said, this is what real progress looks like. And it was basically like a picture of like a bedroom, and in the first picture the mattress is on the floor, and then it says like 6 months later and they've got like a proper bed and a bedside table, and they're just like, this is what progress looks like. And as you were talking then, I was just like, yeah, do you know what, like that whole kind of dream, you will have people that, like you said, you will have those people that their dreams are $1 billion. Right, I want to be a billionaire and stuff like that. It's like, cool. There will be people who want to be millionaires. There will be people who just like, I want to be financially free. I just want to have a bit of money left over. There will be some people who are just like, I just want a car that's my own. I just want a house that's my own. I want to be able to I want to be able to afford this. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to have that choice that if I see something and I like it, I want to be able
Yeah,
to buy
yeah. And that's the other thing, because it all depends at the stage of life you're at. So, like I was saying to you earlier, is what you the way you're thinking now. Your dream is whatever it is. This is your kind of dream life, whatever. But in say 6 months' time or 2 years' time, when you realize that your business is going, or whatever's happening in your life, you suddenly become into an inheritance of something or whatever, and all of a sudden all these other choices have opened up, your dream is going to need upgrading, because your dream was this bubble, but now you think, but there's so much more available to me. And all of a sudden your dream is, actually, I'd love to go and live, I don't know, in Mexico or something, or maybe not Mexico, maybe not a good example, I don't know. But it could be, I want to go and live in Australia, or I want to live here, and I want this kind of life where I can pull back my curtains, and there's the sea in front of me. That kind of stuff. It's totally different. Somebody might, again, people like living in the woods, or some people may just want, you know what I'll do? I want to backpack around the world, and that's their dream. They want to have enough money to sustain themselves to either backpack or get a camper van or something, whatever, and just drive around the world and see everything. It's this Everybody's dream is so radically different, and I think, and the point that I'm making is they need upgrading all the time. They change. Because once you've gone around the world in your camper van, do you do it again? What do you do? What do you do next?
Yeah, mate. So it is totally that, though, isn't it? Like if you think about it in a way where you go, if you said to someone, what's your dream car, right? And you might get someone that just, oh yeah, I want this kind of Range Rover,
Yeah,
that's 80k, or I want this Aston Martin, or something else, right? And it's like, yeah, okay, that's level 5 dream. What's level 1 dream?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like,
What's
okay,
step?
my next, the car that I would like to have next, that I would be happy with,
Yeah,
is actually this. And it's like, well, that's more attainable, right? That's attainable in 6 to 12 months time. So let's look at how we start from where we are to get to where we want to be, because we always want to be living the dream life, right? We always want to be moving forward. We always want to be, I think the word you mentioned earlier is upgrading, right?
Upgrading.
Upgrading. So we always want to be upgrading our current situation. We always want to be moving forward. It doesn't mean that we need to skip steps. It doesn't mean we need to jump forward. It doesn't mean we need to get to that kind of overnight success, winning the lottery. Okay, now buy whatever I want. But we can actually just improve the life that we have.
Yeah, and I think that, again, that's amazing what you just said then about, you don't want to. Sometimes you don't want to reach your dream now, because you read so many stories. And again, I was reading one of these recently about a guy who won 15 million on the lottery, and within a year he was out in the streets again, because he didn't. Because the point is, and I think this has been mentioned in quite a few books actually, is if you suddenly go to having very little to suddenly having a huge amount, it scares you. You don't know what to do, and actually it causes more anxiety than it does when you were back to where you were, because your life isn't ready for it. So maybe having a 200 grand win on the lottery is better for you than having 15 million, because all of a sudden it's a bit more, well, I can understand that. Or even 10 grand, whatever. It's people being ready for that kind of step, because your dream life is going to be a life where you don't have any anxiety or worries. So winning 15 million and you not being able to sleep at night because you've won 15 million is not your dream life. It's as simple as that,
I mean, listen, I'd give it a go.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I mean, I definitely, but I know what you're saying, and it is that, and you get this kind of thing as well, where people say, "Oh, okay, if you had the opportunity to be given 1 million, or to work hard for the next 5 years to earn 1 million, which would you choose?" And there's some people that would say, "Well, I'll work hard for the 1 million because of the lessons," and it's just like, I would take the 1 million still, but those lessons, like, you can still reach that 1 million in 5 years time, by going through the motions, by building momentum to get into where you want to be. And at each stage, leveling up, upgrading to that lifestyle that you want, that isn't a stretch, as much as, we put goals in place to kind of stretch us and stuff like that. We don't need to stretch ourselves in life to put us into a position that we don't want to be in. We can create our dream life right now to center around whatever it is that we want to do. And looking at it that way, of coming back to designing your life goals for whatever it is that you want to do, and especially from where you are right now, mentioned about businesses being like a vehicle. Like, how do we, how do we create something to be able to get that dream life? Well, that vehicle, we don't necessarily have to create that vehicle in a way which is, seen as being successful or seen as being a way that makes
Yeah.
sense. We see this where people are like, okay, I need to grow my business to this, and I need to get staff in and everything like that, when you don't really want that.
Exactly. And it's and again, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as your dream. Is your vehicle, the vehicle that's going to get to you want that. This is going back to getting started to be able to live your dream life now. Is I've seen too many people, and I know remember one person in particular. He when I got went through my accountancy exams, I came out as an accountant. This other guy did at the same time. We were fairly good mates at the time, and we went to the pub afterwards. The sort of the day we had that, yes, you've passed your exam. And we were saying, and I actually said to him, "So why did you want to become an accountant?" Um, and he said, "Because I want to make that, because I know that's where the money is." And then he said to me, "Why do you want to become an accountant?" I said, "I had no idea really, but he said that's where the money is." And his dream was he wanted to do anything that he saw would be the best money maker. So maybe becoming a doctor or a lawyer or something, or he saw an accountancy as the avenue to making money. And like I said, even then I said back to him, "So, but you don't like you don't want to be an accountant because you enjoy accountancy?" "Oh no." Said, "I'm a bit like you, so I can't stand it, but I know it's going to get me there." Now I got into accountancy, and within about 3 months, I decided, "Whoa, I don't want to be any part of this." And he carried on in an accountant, as being an accountant, and he built up quite a good accountancy practice. But he hated every day, and he thought, "Well, hang on a minute. If you're hating your every day that much, when you come home, you're in such a bad, foul mood that you're not going to build your dream life, because you need to have the business you're working in needs to be part of that dream." A lot of people say, "I want to be working in something I love doing because it doesn't feel like work," which I know that's how I feel now in the stuff that I do. And yeah, you've got to, because if you're hating what you do, you come home and for I don't know 2 or 3 hours, you're festering over how the day's been, and then when it comes to thinking about building a dream, you think, "Oh, bath and bed, or shower and bedtime now," then that kind of thing. Or it's you've got to be, if you want the dream life you want, you've got to start thinking about how you can live that now, how best you can move towards that now, not in 10 years, 15 years time. Because who knows, we have no idea what's going to happen at that time. So you need to start thinking about it now. Just as an example of that, I know somebody who they again, I think that it was a friend of my daughter's, left university, did a degree that was really just she wanted to do a degree because she loved doing it, but she knew it was absolutely worthless. It wasn't going to help her get a job or anything. The fact, apart from the fact she now got the degree, she wanted to travel the world, but she wanted to make a living traveling the world. So she set up a podcast, and all she did was she, she lived in Weston-super-Mare, where we used to live. So the first day's podcast was her getting to Dover, and then the second day's podcast was her getting to, I can't remember, Paris or somewhere, where she went, and that was it. And she started traveling the world, and every day on her laptop, and I think she's still doing it. She's sending a podcast of where she's been, how it's made her feel, and all the rest of it. And I think she's been traveling for gotta be 15 years.
Wow.
And you just think, wow, that's all she wants to do.
Yeah.
She's just happy doing it, traveling. Not the whole thing about traveling the world, but traveling, maybe staying somewhere, working somewhere, then try and go somewhere else and exploring new things before she moves on. It's not just, "I've got to get around the world." It's just all these little different places. And she's still, obviously, with a new laptop. It's not one that's 15 years old, but she's doing YouTube podcasts. I get she's probably making a fortune, because she's probably got so many followers because of the places she goes. And as we know with YouTube, advertising stuff wants to jump on and all the rest of it. So she'll be getting sponsorship. So she's probably making a very, very good living doing what she loves. And she's always done what she loves since she left uni. Well, even during uni.
And that there, I think, is just a great example of, like, success is different for different people. Living the dream life is completely different. Like that there, like traveling around the world, like that may be someone's idea of hell, right?
Yeah,
They're just
yeah,
like, oh, I would hate that. Like, where do you do your washing? That
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, exactly.
Is
Yeah,
like you will get those people, and it's like it doesn't matter.
yeah.
This person is still gone off to do whatever they want to do.
That's
They
the
stuck
point,
at
isn't it?
it. And
Yeah,
they've got what they want, and it's just like, mate, that there. I mean, so many different things that you mentioned there. We'll have to go into in more detail, but
mm,
one of those I think is it's important just to kind of take a step back from this as well, because we talk a lot on this podcast about people in business and people at certain levels, and as much as we try to be open for people at all levels, we are a bit biased in probably saying things for people that probably have a bit of sway within their time with what they can do within their business and stuff like that. Now there may be
yeah,
some
yeah,
people who are listening to this who go, I'm working in a job, 12 hours a day, something like that. I can't give up that job because I need that money to support what the life that I'm living, even though the life that I'm living isn't what I want to be living.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
stuck in this kind of in this rat race. That's what it is, right?
yeah,
Stuck in the whole kind of rat race. And what you just said there, it just may hit the nail on the head. Is that because of what you're doing, when you get home, you just want to switch off. You don't want to do
yeah,
anything. You just want to go
exactly.
to bed, and it's just
Yeah,
like, okay, look, that's fine. You want to do that, you need your rest or whatever, do that. But if you continue to do that, then when does it change? It never
when
does.
does it? Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, that's the
yeah,
thing. It's like it never does. It's always going to be that way. That's why it's the rat race. That's why it's like, this is the thing. I can remember, right? I can remember my first day kind of working. I was about, say, 15, 16, and I went with my brother-in-law. He was working in this car leasing place, this
right,
like hire place, and I
yeah,
went in to wash the cars. Right, so I went in to valet the cars and stuff like that. And I can remember at
right,
the end of the week, getting the kind of first week's wages and stuff like that, and it was like it's not ridiculous, but it was like, yeah, this was my money kind of thing. And I can remember him saying to me, "There's a few of the guys there," and he said, How do you feel after your first week?" I said, "I'm tired," and he's like, "You've got another 60 years of that."
yeah.
And
Ouch.
that always stuck with me, right?
Yeah,
Because that's how most people do live, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's
There
it.
was. It's interesting. There was again. Um I was in a network marketing thing years ago. I can't even remember what it was for. And one of the leaders actually in this particular brand we had was was a woman who had been worked in the city as I think a solicitor for I don't know how many years, and she said she I taking her story, she said it, but she said she used to get a train in and then go on the tube to where she would get the train in for I think from Bristol to go to London, which is you know an hour and a half, probably an hour, maybe I don't know. Or on a good day, it's an hour. It's probably 7 hours when you get all the delays, and then the tube to get to where she works in the centre of London. And she said she used to cry every day, cry on the train, couldn't really cry on the tube because it was too noticeable, and then come back and cry on the train on the way back. And she did that for some ridiculous amount of time. She said it was going on for about 7 or 8 years, and eventually she went to the station and in Temple, Bristol Temple Meads, and she never got on the train. She was like, I can't do it anymore. And she phoned her boss that I can't do it, I quit. And she was earning ridiculous amount of money at the time, 6-figure income at the time, really the kind of income that people say, oh, you can't just give that up. But she did because she said, I just couldn't live like that. I just couldn't. And so she went back to almost earning nothing to start with and then building a business of what she liked doing. I think it was selling Jamie Oliver stuff. I think it was something like that when there was Jamie Oliver stuff going on around, and she loved it because she was getting around people's houses, chatting to people, talking to them, and making lots of relationships while she was selling stuff. She obviously, I guess, she must have had a bit of money behind her, so from a job or everything. But she said it was such a relief to actually get back into a car on the station and drive home again, and she never looked. She said she never looked back. But can you imagine that? Just being that distressed with work so much that you couldn't face it. Incredible.
I just thinking then as well, like for most people, you would have quit a job, right? So you would have quit a
Yeah.
job and gone on to another job, or if you've never done that, you've probably had like a client that you've worked with that when it's got to an end, you've kind of gone like, thank God for that, you
Yeah.
know. But that
Yeah.
that whole thing of like when you hand your notice in and it's your last day of work and you leave, no matter what job you're going on to, when you're leaving, you kind of most of the time you do it with a smile on your face because you're like,
Yeah.
I've left that, I've left that hell
Done
behind,
that. Yeah.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's just like, yeah, okay, look, why put up with it for so long, And then when you move into this new job, it's only going to be so long before you're feeling exactly the same. And
Yeah.
coming back to like I was saying, is that you might be in a position right now where you're just like, there's so much going on. It's like, okay, baby steps. Just start making those little
Start.
steps up,
Start
whatever it
something.
is. And as much as like you said with that woman, and it's like, look, we're not, whatever you're doing, we're not saying just go and quit, what you're doing and,
No. No. No.
go and sell some stuff and you'll be happier and stuff like that. Because obviously, that like you said, that woman probably had some money behind her that she had
Yeah.
those
Of course.
options again, having those choices, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like those kind of baby steps are still moving you up to having those choices. So it could just be that, yeah, do you know what? You are going to be able to move jobs, or you're going to do some extra kind of stuff where you're going to study to go into a career that you do enjoy. It could even be that you just go in, how do I make a bit more money that we can have that holiday next year?
Yeah.
No,
That
and
could be
again,
a dream, couldn't it? Just that holiday.
that's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
Whatever that dream is to you, it is specific to you. It doesn't matter what anybody else is like. And there's that phrase, isn't it, of one man's junk is another man's treasure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like it's a similar thing to that, where it's just like,
Yeah.
your holiday to a caravan on the coast is like your dream. Some people that
Yeah.
go off to Dubai and stuff like that, they wouldn't be caught dead there.
Yeah. Exactly.
But
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
for you, it's just like that. That's what I want. And it's like, it doesn't matter what
Yeah.
anybody else thinks or what anybody else says. It's like, it's for you to start taking those steps to start moving towards that life that you want. And we talk again, look, coming back to that dream life is not mansions and Range Rovers and caviar. They said that dream life could be, yeah, we could have 2 holidays next year rather than 1.
Yeah. And you can, and this is where I say I get frustrated with people. I don't know if frustration is the right word, but some people say, "Oh yeah, well when this happens, I can do this," or when classic one, when I win the lottery, I can do that. You say, "Well, when are you going to win the lottery?" The chance that I don't know the exact chances of winning the lottery are, but we know that it's like a grain of sand in Africa, isn't it? The chance of winning the lottery. So you say, so well, what can you do today? What can you? I mean, I would say, well, what do you mean? What can I do today? Well, if your dream is based on you going on holiday somewhere exotic, then why don't you put a tenner aside today into an holiday account, and try and put a tenner a week into a holiday account? By the time that that can mount up, and maybe in 3 years' time you can start to go into your dream. But just the act of doing something will make you do something else. The act of putting a tenner away, you'll think tomorrow, oh, I could do something more. There's something else I could do, and I could do, and all of a sudden your mind starts going. But until you start building that dream or upgrading that dream, so the other thing is, you've got this. I know you've had this fantastic holiday, and now that you're looking for something else, or maybe you do want to move to a different country or whatever. You've reached the dream where you were because your dream's based on your past thinking, and you've got to that place. You think, let's go, and now I want something else. What else do you want? And then once you start upgrading your dream, again, it's just putting money aside or putting whatever you need to put aside. Time. It could be time aside. I want to spend time working in again, volunteering in sort of warm space cafes or soup kitchens or something. So, well, take a day off a week and start doing it. If that's what your dream is, to actually really start helping other people, then don't think I'd love to do it. Do it somehow. Find a way to actually start reading a book that's going to give you the skills to do something else, or putting a little bit of money aside, or even on paper say, this is what I want, actually designing what your next dream would be. This is the kind of things I want. Because once you start the process of thinking, your brain will take over, and you'll think of extra things that you can do.
Mate, isn't that the truth though? That you just have to think about things, right? And it's like you don't need to come up with the get rich quick scheme, right? We don't need to kind of look at, how do I make 100 grand, but by, the summer, it's like, we all do that, right? We all want that. We all want to try and do
Yeah,
things.
yeah, of course.
We all, everything makes sense when you kind of write it down the first time and stuff like that. But, all you have to do is think things through. And it's like you said then, going, okay, how do I save an extra tenner and stuff like that? My mindset is always, how can I make an extra tenner?
Well, yeah, sorry, yeah,
yeah. And no, but it's still the same thing. Like different people in different situations and stuff like that. But for me, like looking at it that way and going, right, how do I make an extra tenner? And like you said there, that whole kind of thinking, for me, everyone is sat on a treasure trove of information, right?
well, that's right.
They have skills, they have expertise, they have knowledge. They can do things which are valuable to other people, right? And that could be that you do something physically. It could be that you do just like little bits and pieces and stuff like that. It's like I said to you before, like a mate of mine, he's not a mechanic, but he knows stuff about cars. For me, I've got no idea if there's something wrong with the car, where to look, right? But he can easily just process it and go, it's there, right? Well, he could do that kind of thing where he just advises people before they take it into a garage, right? He could be like, is this problem here? Don't let them try and sell you X, Y, and Z because it's just this, right?
Yeah.
Just a little valuable kind of thing. He actually, I'm going to say I bullied him, but he's bigger than me. I didn't really bully him, right? It was like, I told him to start creating some videos when he's working on cars, right? And he basically he's only done one video, right? But he created one video of changing a part on a van, right? And it's got 23,000 views on YouTube, right? And it's like, there's obviously a market there, right?
Yeah.
People are interested. So what else can you do then? How can we look to benefit from it? Could you do that support line? Could you create a blog about it? Could you do more videos? Could you do a series? Could you, this guy as well, he kitted up his van into like a camper van, and it's like, talk through that process, and help people do it themselves. And it's like, just like that, it's just one example, right? It's just one guy, all of a sudden now we've got 3 or 4 different income streams that he could start working on.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier as well, and we were talking about how for our members, that we have, how can we give extra things to them that we're not the experts on, that we don't know about? And I said, I've been talking to a guy recently who's a personal trainer, but he doesn't have anything which is, documented or videos or anything like that. Maybe we could get him to create some stuff from that, and we could help him then sell that also, that he benefits, but our members are going to benefit because we can get that stuff into our membership, and mate, we do a bit of a shameless plug for that as well, but we're just
why not?
With Momentum Max. I mean, we put together Momentum Max to basically just help people, right? People that want to live the dream, people that want to level up, but more importantly, people that need that support and accountability and direction and guidance. So we're talking about training, we're talking about support, we're talking about that accountability. It's all in there. I've undersold it for what it is. We'll put a link down below for you to check it out. But if you're stuck, if you're kind of going, I want to do this stuff, I've got no one helping me, the people around me aren't the people that think about things like this and want to move forward, come into this community. That's what it's all about. It's that winning environment to help you kind of move forward.
Yeah. And that is critical, what you just said there. I know we're talking about dreams and everything, but if you want to build your dream, it's unlikely you can build your dream on your own. You need people around you to be able to bounce ideas off, to work with, to help you out. And they aren't necessarily, like we said, I think it was in the last episode, they may not be the person down the pub who doesn't share your dream or doesn't sort of want to work towards you, because all they'll do is they'll talk about their dreams. You think, I'm not interested in your dreams necessarily. But you want people on your side who can actually start helping you build your dream. People who really have an interest in working with you to see, okay, let's see how you can get to where you want to get to. That is what we do. As you say, it's a shameless plug, but it is what we do. And part of my dream and your dream is to help people build theirs. I remember this huge quote. I can't remember the exact quote from Zig Ziglar loads ago, but he said, "You can have anything you want in the world, or the way you can have anything you want in the world is by helping other people get what they want in the world." How true is that? It's just no person can do it on their own.
And I mean, if we look at it as well, I mean, the reason we do this podcast is probably, even if you go back years ago, like I said, the seminar that you put on and we met each other and doing kind of networking, we continue talking, we continue bouncing ideas. We worked on projects together, we worked for clients together and stuff like that. So much so that it led up to when we're doing these chats, we were just like, we should record these because they're valuable to people, right? So we started the podcast, a couple of years ago, and today, we're recording this is episode 67, right?
Yeah, incredible. Yeah.
Throughout all this time, we've never looked at running ads. We've never looked at having a sponsor or anything like that. And the reason for that is because we do it because we like it. We do it because we like bouncing ideas and talking about, subjects that are going to elevate people to help them and stuff like that. And for our listeners, like, that's what we want to do. Like you said, we just want to help people, you know. For us, look, the way how we get paid from this is when you listen and you kind of go, guys, I need you on my side. It's like, yeah, look, Momentum Max, go and join it. You can have a seat, have us in your ear, all that kind of stuff, lots of training. So yeah, look, we'll put some information below. But that, like you said, mate, that whole kind of thing of having the right players around you. I can remember this being spoke about as, think of it as you have people who are A players, B players, C players, and D players. And it's just like, look at the kind of 5 people you hang around with, and stuff like that. And start putting them into these categories. Like, who is the person in the A player who they pick you up, they motivate you, they're they're the cheerleader, they're wanting better for you and everything like that. The people in the B side are the ones who are just like, yeah, do you know what? They're all right to have around. They're useful. They help me. I like them. I help them. We've got an all right kind of, relationship. It's quite equal. The C level then is like, these people take more than what they give. That kind of thing. That they're in there. And then you got D, and it's just like, these are the people that drain me. These are the people that just like take it out. And it's like, just do a little kind of, stock take on your life. Do a little evaluation. Put that little grid on a piece of paper. Write your friends. Take the last kind of 6 weeks, and this could be people at work and stuff like that as well. Take the 6 weeks and just got like the people that I know, people who I hang around with, people I listen to, take information from. Where do I put them within this grid? And it's like a snapshot right there of like what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because there's a lady I know who now has they bought a field from a farmer in Wales. They now have a field from a farmer in Wales. They have a lodge on their field, and they planted loads of trees. She started out, I think it was about 4 years ago. This is something she wanted to do. The people around her weren't really interested. She sort of they were just not interested in stuff. So she actively did that. She thought, well, these Ds who are just drained, completely drained. She dropped them. She said, yeah, nice knowing you, but I'm kind of politely moving on there. And she went searching for people who had, and this is how I got to know, because I've obviously, I'm a big sort of tree person as well. But I didn't have that time or whatever to invest at the particular moment. But she went and found about 3 or 4 people who had the same kind of dream as hers. They want to get a field, they want to build a barn on it so they have a holiday retreat, but they really, really wanted to plant trees and actually start creating an environment. 4 people, they then thought, well, how can we get a field? So they thought, oh, let's do a bit of crowdfunding. So someone came up with the idea, I wonder who we can ask. So from that, it came up to crowdfunding. I don't think they had particular skills in creating something, but together they put something together, crowdfunding. They got the money. They bought one of them knew a farmer in Wales who was he was falling on hard times. I think the farms would go particularly well, but he had a field that they didn't realize at the time was spared. They just talked to different farmers. They were put onto him. They bought a field off him, bang. And they now have that particular dream, and they've got that particular dream. And it's purely because someone, as you said, made the point that who are my A players around me? Who do I want around me as A players that will motivate me, get me going, and start having similar ideas and discussions, who will actually help me to achieve that, because that's what they want to achieve as well. And that's how it started. And it was interesting because she was telling me that all this in a pub. Oh God, I don't know. It was a long time ago now, about 4 or 5 years ago. That she said, "This is what I'm going to do." And I found out just before the pandemic that they had done it. They were then just building their lodge on this piece of land that they bought. And it's just simply because the dream can start with a thought, like we said just now. It starts a thought. I want to do this. How? How can I do this? Who can I get around me to help me do this? And that's That's what happened for her.
This is the big thing as well, right? From that thing of the people being around you, right? Those kind of different players around you, it comes back to exactly that. Now, when that person in the pub said to you, "This is what I'm thinking to do," right? Knowing you automatically, I know you would be like, "Great, we know what are you doing to start with," you know.
Yeah.
But you will get people in your environment that you kind of say, "I'm thinking about doing this," and they'll be saying, "Don't be stupid."
Yeah, exactly.
You can't do that, you know, and that's why it's important to have the right people around you. And even I'm not sounding clever now, because I was going to say even more importantly, if that's the right word, right?
Yeah,
it's who you listen to.
Yeah,
because you know the people around you and stuff like that. It's all well and good, kind of putting feelers out and kind of saying this is what I'm thinking to do, and you might get people, oh, you can't do that because of X, Y, Z, or this is going to be an obstacle. And it's like, well, they've never been there, they've never done it. Not saying that they don't have any knowledge or anything like that. Maybe people who are actually looking out for you, and that's where it's really important to go. Is this person on my side or are they against me? Because as much as it sounds crazy, it's going off completely, right? There's a video that I've got, and it's Snoop Dogg, the rapper, right? And he says on there, he said, like, the thing is, he said, he's like, I left the hood, right? And I went into my music career and everything like that, and I elevated. He said, but the people in the hood, they stayed the same. So they kept kind of trying to drag me back down to their level because they couldn't get to my level. And I had to make a choice of either leaving, them behind to continue to go on to what I want to do, or going back to their level. He said, no, I want the new level for me. And it's like, that's exactly what you have to do. Living that dream life, looking at what you want to do. It's not a case of, cutting people off. We're not getting into relationships. Don't go and get divorced tomorrow because of what stuff like that. But what we're looking at doing is going, look, what is it you want? Who's around you to help you get there? You need to leave where you are to get where you want to go.
Yeah, and if you're lucky, we'll say lucky, maybe that's the wrong word, but if you have good relationships with people, you'll find one or two that'll go with you, and that'll grow with you, because that's the whole point. You're growing, you're thinking, and thinking leads to growth. But you could easily have two or three people that, as you say, just it's never going to and all they do is they look on that side. So you've got to kind of get yourself out that situation. As politely and nicely as you can, but sometimes it is, look, I'm sorry, but you're just dragging me down, and I can't do it anymore. And I've known people being in that situation where, again, and I can't remember. I remember this story, and I can't remember where I heard it. It was I do. It was somebody I was coaching a long time back, and she was really trying to stop being so negative about people and trying to be so a bit more encouraging of people. And the people she went around with a group of people, were the people who just loved gossiping and bitching about other. They no offense to women, she was a woman and this was a group of women, and she said they were awful. They were just a drain all the time. And apparently one day she was in a pub and they was chatting to her, and she just got up, walked out, said, I can't deal with any of you anymore. Put a drink down and walked out. And she never saw them again. And you think, because in her head she just thought, I've had enough of this. This is not what I want to be doing. And so she did it in a very dramatic way. But I'm not saying you have to do that. But it came to that. It got to the stage where it just felt, she said she felt so bad about it that she had to just leave them all. And I don't think anybody even called after her. She just went.
So something really strange, right? Bear with me on this one, right? I was watching Crime Watch, Crime Stoppers, whatever it is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's a little program, that's on. So like they look at cases of crime, and that they obviously want your help to identify people and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen this kind of trend with it, where they will bring a case from, say, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it is, and they say they don't have any evidence, they don't know who they're after or anything like that, and they start showing clips, they start showing information. And what they say is that we know that over time alliances change, and it's like,
True,
so you're not going to be under that influence that you were under at one point, so now you might be more willing to give some information, or you might you might now go, they did wrong there, so I'm gonna shop them in and stuff like that. But the reason I'm going with that is that over time you change. Like, you know, change scares people, right? But we all change, you know. And I think as well, like changing it isn't the right word. It's improving, it's elevating, right? It's upgrading.
It's elevating. I think so. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's and coming back to what we, you know, the originally we talked about, you know, building a dream. Definitely, it's this is what we say. I was saying there about what we talked about upgrading your dreams. Her dream, just go back to this woman who walked out from her mates. Once upon a time, her dream was to go out with these mates and be having a time of her life, getting drunk maybe, and just slagging people off. You know, that was kind of where she was. She didn't know any better, but she changed. The other people didn't change with her, but her dream was, no, I don't like myself because of this, and I want to change myself. So sometimes what we think is a dream is actually something we want to get out of. And so she went, and none of them followed her. But going back to because her level of thought changes. So our dream, like I said before, our dreams. If we think we've reached our dream, which not everybody has, but just say we think we've reached our dreams now, they were the dreams you had and the thinking you had from the past. And as everything changes, you might actually think, you might start out saying, "Oh, I want to be a millionaire. That's it. I'm a millionaire. I've got to earn this." And if you go through life, and so that might be 5 years ago, for example, and if you keep examining it, I'm very big on living intentionally, and I do journaling in the morning and evening, as you know, and always questioning myself about what I want. And one day you could be saying, oh, do I really want £1 million? And you think about all the hassle and all the stress and all that you might have to have a big company to get there. There might be all the relationship problems you're going to get. And you say, do I really want that? Actually, I don't know. So your dream changes, because, like I said, beginning, if you have a dream that if you have a dream that getting there is stressing you out so much to get there, once you get there, you're going to resent it. It's not going to feel comfortable. You're not going to be happy about being there. So why not just build a dream, like you said, build a dream that's close to home to start with, and just do it, and then just know that your dream's going to change and you're going to upgrade. You're going to be wanting to do more all the time as you're going along, because that's natural. We never reach an end point in our lives. Well, I don't think we should, if we ever do. But really, we're always not looking for something else necessarily, but always trying to improve and elevate ourselves. I think that's true of anybody.
No, I totally agree. And I think that when you're saying there as well about, look, you get to a certain point and it's like the goals that I have right now are from the person I was.
Yeah.
The goals that I have moving forward, are the person I am right now. And it's that, they said like, that dream life is that you're always reevaluating it. You're always looking at it going, okay, look, how, what's changed? What do I need to work on? What do I need to do? Look, we do this in business. We do this in marketing. We do this in everything that we do. It's always about evaluating it, looking at kind of analysis and going, did this work? Is this matched up? Are we on track? Where do we want to go now? Are we moving the goalpost? And it's fine to do so. It doesn't have to be, a static thing. It's dynamic. It's always changing because the world's changing and everything. We move around that, and it's like that whole kind of dream life. That's different for everyone. It's going to be different for people in different age brackets. Going to be different in different regions, different places of the world and stuff like that, and lots of other different factors in there, right? So no two people are going to be the same, or exactly the same. People may be similar and stuff like that. But I think for me, we'll look to wrap things up on this one. But I'm sure that from talking about this, I'm sure we're going to be looking at this a lot more in sort of podcasts and stuff like that, about kind of living your dream life and designing your dream life and upgrading and stuff like that. But coming back to like at the start, and I said about we're in our 60s and people in their 60s looking back give the best advice in my opinion, right? And it's like I can remember that this thing being said. It's like in my teens and 20s, I was worried about what people think, of me. I'm worried about what people think of me, and then in my 30s and 40s, I stopped worrying about what people were thinking about me. And then in my 50s and 60s, I realized that no one was thinking about me in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's that kind of thing. And like, for me, listening to, and I'm saying older people that, and it sounds disrespectful when I say that, isn't this, is what's the word I'm looking for? Experience.
More experience.
Yeah. and it's like, they give the best advice because they've been there, they've done it, right?
Yeah.
You know, so when they say, like, saying that thing on your deathbed, you regret the things that you didn't do, is like you will hear people say, like, well, you know, if you don't like doing that, why are you doing it? You know, if you want to make improvements, then start making improvements. You know, you've got all of this life ahead of you. So even if you are an experienced person, you know, potentially you still got a lot of life still ahead of you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like it's never too late to educate. You know, it's never too late to kind of do the things that you want to do. And if you're younger and stuff like that, start doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think it doesn't matter, as you said, it doesn't matter what age you're at. If you start doing it, if you start working towards whatever dream it is and actually start doing it properly, you're going to start enjoying life. So even if you've only got 3 years left, for example, and you don't know you've got 3 years left, those 3 years are going to be full of enjoyment because you're starting to work towards something that you really, really want, as opposed to the other maybe 70 years where you just thought, wow, what was I doing all that time? Yeah, was I? Yeah, I might have earned a good salary. I might have done this, but I've ended up here thinking there must be something else. I think just a quick one. I think it was it's either Bono or Freddie Mercury. I can't remember. I know one's alive, one's dead. But one of them said, "I travel around the world. I've been paid millions and millions. I got millions of fans, and I've been everywhere, but there's still something missing. I still feel there's something missing." And you think, right, okay, so ask yourself what that is, and can you start doing something about it?
It's so true, isn't it? I mean, that's exactly it. You know, I was thinking as well when you were talking then, I'm just like, we've all got regrets in our life. You know, no matter how old we are, you know, there will be things that we regret in our life. It's like, just draw a line under it and just promise yourself then that moving forward,
yeah,
you're not going to be regretting the things that you didn't do because you start doing them. You know, you start doing the things that you want, the things that will move you forward towards that, you know, that next level in living the dream life that you want. And I think, mate, just to wrap things up there, we said about, look, we've got Momentum Max. Like over on our website, we've got free training. So like, there's no excuse, right? If you're in business right now and you want to improve mindset, marketing, sales, and get the kind of business that you want, there's some free training. If you want to get started with making money online, you know, and doing the whole kind of online marketing stuff and getting paid commissions and that, there's a free training there to go and get it. So there's no excuse. And if you want to go faster, you know, Momentum Max, if you want to go even faster than that, then just get in touch with us and we'll have a chat about that. But there's so many resources out there, right? You know, there's no excuse. The times that we have today, like, in fact, you have such an amazing opportunity to just go, right, I'm going to go and do it. Like you said, that lady who's traveling the world, you know, with a podcast, it's like, that is available to you. You know, it's not pack your bags and go and start a podcast, but you could start doing stuff like, you know, a couple of hours a week. That it's going to build up. You're going to create momentum, that compound effect. You're going to get 6 months time down the line. You're either going to be in a better position or you're going to be in a worse position, right? You get to choose right now. So take action, start building momentum, start living the dream life. Catch you next time.
Indeed.
It's pretty much it. Mark, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, always. Okay. Cheers, everybody, and thanks for watching.